Whether you're new to the Sound Shore or have called it home for years, Sound Shore Family Guide is here for you. We bring you insider tips on schools, sports, local happenings, and parenting in our amazing community. Let's navigate family life in Larchmont and Mamaroneck together.
Hi, thank you for listening and watching us here at LMC Media Studio on the app for the Sound Shore Family Guide. Today we have Alex Fennerty. Thank you, Alex. Here with us today. So, Alex, welcome.
Thank you.
And of course, Alex is a local Larchmont mom. Alex, can you tell us where you lived before you moved here to Larchmont?
Yes. My family and I lived in Manhattan before we moved here. And once we had 2 children, we decided we needed to get out of the city and get us a little bit more space.
Well, you're among many like-minded people.
Exactly.
And you're a stay-at-home mom.
Yes.
Okay. And you have 3 children. And can you tell us what kind of activities they're into?
So our kids, I joke, it's kind of like a spaghetti at the wall situation. I want them to try a little bit of everything and see what they take to the most. So we've done all the sport, every sport.
Through the town, right?
Through all the town rec programs.
Like what?
Even starting off, as early as pre-K, we've done soccer, we've done flag football, we've done basketball, we've done lacrosse. They play tennis. They've done it kind of all. And the rec sports have been such a great program for all the kids to kind of meet other kids in town, us to meet other parents in town. And just kind of get kids out there and running around. And then we've also done art classes through Creative Corner and One River in town in Larchmont. And then...
Did you like Creative Corner? Was that more like a camp? Was it a after-school program?
For Creative Corner, we've done camps. I've done birthday parties there. They're awesome. They are really accommodating for everything. And then my boys especially. My daughter has taken a class as well at One River, but my boys have really loved the One River classes. My son actually has taken some cartooning classes with them.
Oh, neat.
And some digital art stuff there because he's really into computers and drawing and all that type of stuff. So,
and is that also a program that you do like after school, or is that just okay?
Yeah, so it's just for like 3:30. Usually it's like a little buffer to get there after school, and then it's usually roughly right after school.
And your children are zoned for Chatsworth, so
Yes.
Do they walk there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
we
so
walk
convenient.
most places. Yeah,
Right.
so it makes it really convenient. And then we also have done a bunch of classes at MakeInspires, where my oldest has done almost every genre of class that they have there at some point over the past probably 6 years.
Like what kind of classes does he take?
He has taken, so we started it originally during COVID because he was in kindergarten and was going to school, 2 hours a day, I think. And I was kind of like, we need to find something more for you to do. And so MakeInspires actually did a pod out of our house during COVID. And then once everything was able to open up again, he started going to some coding classes with them. I am not super tech savvy, so I couldn't even tell you exactly, but there's Python and Scratch and all of that. And then
You know them by name.
I know them by name.
Know what they're
have
doing.
no idea what they mean.
Right.
I always joke. I'm like, I need to be the one to take the classes there at this point. And then he's done video game programming. He's done Minecraft, which is like a game you play on your computer. Development, which is like you develop these intricate worlds and you can interact with other people in their worlds.
Taking it to another level. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's done 3D printing. He's done...
Do they do private classes, or do you do birthday parties with them as well?
Yep,
Or do
they
they
do
still
it all.
continue with the pods, or is it more like class-based now?
We do it class-based now. You can do a pod if their timing doesn't work. You can always do a pod with them. They're super flexible. Nice. They always find really great people to teach their classes. My son has loved all of the stuff he's done with them.
Amazing.
And this past summer, he did a camp there for a week, and it was on the Kerbal Space program, which I was kind of like, I don't know if this is going to be his thing. And he loved it. I think it's just, they're really encouraging of kind of searching and, kind of giving kids creative freedoms. And really letting them sort of figure out what they want to do in the process. So we've had such an awesome experience with them. And they've, they do birthday parties, they do camps, they do classes, they do it all. And they're so flexible about everything. Basically, they just, they're very, very encouraging of the kids, which I think that has been great for my son. We joke, it's like he found his people there, and that's been so wonderful for him. Exactly.
Like you said, you try lots of things, and then certain things are going to stick, and certain things aren't.
And this was one of the things that I think is truly, truly like his thing.
Oh, that's great.
So I think that's been great for him. So yeah.
Wonderful. Taking it to the level, like just being on your computer device or whatever. It's like learning more about it.
Exactly. And it's given him a creative outlet. As I said, he's done cartooning classes. He's done the video game development class there. I think that he does love the concept of maybe like creating a game or something like that. At some point, Minecraft does help to utilize some of that creativity as well. So I think that he's really enjoyed all of the skills he's gotten through that.
And like that's one child, and then the other ones, like you're like more sports heavy or not necessarily arts and sports.
My daughter is super sports heavy. She loves sports. She wants to play 5 a season if I would let her, but she doesn't have time. It's definitely sports are definitely her thing. And my youngest
and you're involved in that too, right? So there's like a lot of crossover
exactly.
there.
So, and I joke, I get to coach all of her stuff, even though she doesn't necessarily want me there. I show up. So that's kind of the biggest part.
She does, though. She'll look back and she'll remember Mom was always there rooting for me.
Exactly. She does theoretically like having me there. And my youngest is only in kindergarten, so I don't know what his thing's going to be. We're just kind of trying it all as well. He takes art classes. He does sports. I think we're going to start a little bit of a music thing with him because he does seem to like music. So he's kind of, he's still spaghetti thrown at the wall type of thing. Just trying it all out, seeing what he likes.
Going back to the STEM, do you feel like that's there's some crossover also within the schools that your sons and even your younger children are getting like more exposure to at a younger age?
So they're at Chatsworth, and Chatsworth does have a STEM program now that every grade, they have a 6-day cycle, and every grade does it at one of the days. And they learn about all sorts of different parts of the STEM universe. And I think that that's been really great for them. I know my kindergartner, they make it super relatable to them. He comes home whenever he has STEM, and he's so excited about.
So neat.
It's so cute, and it really just opens up a whole new world for them, and maybe gives them exposure. Especially, I mean, obviously with my oldest, they see him, doing all these Makeinspire classes and understanding that. But I think kids that aren't necessarily exposed, or parents don't necessarily gravitate towards those types of activities, I think that it's really nice to show them the different applications of STEM and the different ways that they can be involved that aren't what they traditionally maybe consider to be STEM related. And I think that the school has done a great job of really incorporating the STEM into the school overall.
I love that. And especially just like I guess back in the day, back in my day.
Exactly.
It was very male dominant in a way.
Yes.
And now having it introduced at such a younger age that I feel like women and girls are just so much more exposed and just as excited as the boys are. And
for sure.
It's a nice little collab between the two.
I agree. And I think that for, my boys and my girls, and my daughter, they have had a really great exposure to it. And I think, the Chatsworth had their science fair this past week. And I was saying to one of the parents that I thought it was great that it was out of the 30 some odd pairings that they had out there, it was half girls, half boys. There was no, typical child that was doing either. So I think that it's really great that they have so many different kids doing STEM programs. And MakeInspires helped us also with the science fair. And they really helped us engage the kids. They did like a fun activity with the kids at the science fair to help kids realize once again that it isn't just about learning to program a computer or whatever you want to say. Like they made these, I think they call them magic wands, and they were like little popsicle sticks with a little light bulb at the top, and there was a battery, and you could like light it up. And they all thought it was so fun, and they brought some like cool 3D printed stuff that they had done. So I think that like for kids to see the different ways that these things can be part of their lives, I think is such a great way to expose them to all of this and kind of just open up the world a little bit bigger to them.
Well, super neat. Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for all this information. For those of you who are watching and listening, I hope you stick around because Alex will be here to introduce a little tip that you will only hear or see here. And so stick around. So, hi, Caleb Boardman from MakeInspires. It's very nice to have you here at the LMC Media Studio. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks for having us.
Of course. For those of you that did hear me say MakeInspires, it is now MakeInspires.
Yeah.
It used to be MakeInspires, but the name has changed. So I'm glad that I'm corrected after all these years. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Tell us what the experience is like at MakeInspires here in Larchmont.
Yeah, so, well, really, there are a lot of experiences to be had at MakeInspires. As a youth makerspace, we're open to kids from 5 to 16 to really like use their creativity to create something, to kind of turn screens into like productive tools that they can use. So we do 3D printing, coding, robotics, everything, animation, video production. So yeah, I mean, what makes the experience special is that like these kids who really like to create and use technology are in the room with instructors who like to create and like to use technology, and they can kind of feed off the energy and make something really special together.
That is amazing. And are these private classes? Are these group classes?
Yeah, so we do just about everything. So we have weekly group classes at our makerspace in Mamaroneck. We're also doing private lessons, which you can kind of schedule for like 1 or 2 kids to do like recurring lessons if you want to go really deep into a subject. We do birthday parties. We do schools out workshops. So anytime the Mamaroneck School District has a school day off, we're there at the Makerspace, doing projects with these kids for up to 6 hours if you wanted to go that crazy. But in addition to that, we're in all the local schools and schools across Westchester teaching after schools.
How do you bring your equipment to after-school programs?
So we try to bring only the things that are needed to create. So we do a lot of hands-on things. We do circuits. We do robotics. We're able to bring those pretty easily. Things like laptops and iPads as well. We usually can't bring a 3D printer just because there's a certain amount of setup and stuff that, would take us a little more time, but we try to bring the makerspace experience, through the instructors, really.
And obviously that's happening, the magic's happening in your studio here at MakeInspires, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty unique experience to have the kids in the environment where, if they're doing a 3D printing class, they can actually see the 3D printers running and manufacturing the things that they created. We have laser cutters, robots, and the whole space is kind of decorated to be technology forward. There's a lot of like cool lights and cool things. I usually tell people I can't show them everything if I give them a tour. Like you're just going to have to find everything over the years that you take classes.
And you mentioned that you even have kids that joined your programs early on, and then now they're working for you now. I mean, I guess you've made that much of an impact on these kids. Do they build things and make things like for the high school, and are they inventing amazing things, or what's going on in there?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty awesome to see, the growth that our students have, and to be a partner in that journey with them. Like we have instructors and former students that have done MHS robotics and they've done Homics robotics, and it's really cool to see them go off and do really cool things in college after high school. So we've students that have launched satellites out of the ISS, students that are hired right now in kind of the industries that they were studying the basics of when they were 8 years old at MakeInspires. It's really inspiring to see.
That is. And so last night I was with some friends, and their son's friend hired a master of Dungeons and Dragons to teach their children how to play.
Yeah.
So would you offer some kind of special one-on-ones and masters of things like that?
Yeah, I mean, so, that would kind of fall into the private lessons, or it could be considered like a custom group or a private group. We actually run 3 Dungeons and Dragons campaigns at our Makerspace right now. We have kids that are 6 years old playing Dungeons and Dragons up to 16 years old. So we have different groups for them. We are really big into creative technology, but we're also really into just creativity. And we do Dungeons and Dragons, we do Magic the Gathering, and we do Minecraft. We do things that are fun for kids that, make them use their brains.
We like to see that because
Yeah.
since they're going to be on their screens for so long anyway, at least
Right.
get creative with it.
Absolutely.
And do you cater to adults as well, or just kids?
So just kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
Up to about 16, you said?
Yep.
Okay. And if people want to, because it sounds like there's so much going on, if they want to reach you, see what's going on at MakeInspires, how do they find you?
Yeah, so you can find us at MakeInspires.com or in your local after-school catalog. If you go to any of the schools in Mamaroneck, we're there in partnership with the Boys and Girls Club. You can also reach us at education@makeinspires.com if you have any questions about our programs or want to set up something custom.
Wonderful. It sounds like you really have something for everyone.
Yeah, we do.
Great. Wonderful. So thank you so much. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Hi, Ann Palumbo. Thank you so much for being here at the LMC Media Studio Center for the Sound Shore Family Guide. And Ann, you are the chair of the science department for the Mamaroneck, the Rye Neck High School and Middle School. So thank you so much for being here, and tell us a little bit more about your wonderful program for STEM.
Okay, thanks for having us. We have a lot going on at Rye Neck Middle and High School in our STEM program. We have all the basics, our state requirements, and in addition to that, we have 6 AP advanced placement courses. Students can take a course during high school and get college credit. And in addition to that, we have 11 electives where students, can pursue their area of interest. What's unique about those is that they're often student-driven. They will ask for, more courses in a particular area. And then we will do our best to develop courses in that particular area. So for example, our forensics has become so popular that next year we'll add another higher level forensics class. And and those classes, go ahead.
It's all under the STEM umbrella?
It is,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
And, and they intersect with art. So after chemistry, you can take art of chemistry. Or, physics can dovetail with engineering, and there are multiple levels of engineering. So because that's where student interests lie. So we have quite a bit.
And this is all, because you really kind of developed your STEM program a few years ago with a new wing and a new area. So what's that like?
Yeah, so the community has supported the STEM program to such an extent that we were just jammed in to the spaces, and they floated a bond, and we have 8 brand spanking new classrooms custom built for physics, for chemistry, etc. And in addition to that, we created in those spaces these collaborative spaces so that students can come out of the classroom. And for example, the physics folks, they have these big sliding glass doors. They open the doors and they set up their physics experiments and roll things down the hall. And it just leads to a lot of excitement to use that space. And then we use that space, for example, yesterday to invite the middle schoolers in to the high school space. And they did their middle school fair. We added some of the high school projects as well. High schoolers came and stopped by and encouraged them, and it all dovetails together.
The middle school and the high school is one building, correct?
It is one building with sort of separate areas. And by building this new STEM wing, it is dedicated to the high school, but what that also did is it allowed us to move out of some middle school science spaces, and now our 7th grade and 8th grade have, real science labs that they work in every day. Yeah.
And you were mentioning, the students, a lot of it's student-driven and parent-driven, I guess, as well.
Yeah.
And you just mentioned they participate in clubs, and they have ideas about maybe participating as well with the lower school and being mentors. So what's that connection like?
Yeah, so so the students have a lot of ownership. And so one of the ways they can do that is they can have a couple of people and peers who are interested in something, and they'll come to us and say, we would like to lift this thing. We have this idea. So 2 years ago, students came and said, we want to have this thing. We call it STEM board. They made up what it is, but their goal was to bring that sort of joy of doing science to the younger kids. And so some of the activities that we do is we use this new collaborative space. The high schoolers work for a while to set up fun, interesting experiments. Then they go to the elementary school, invite the elementary school kids, and the place is packed. And the high schoolers are demonstrating, explaining. They put on like a little show. And then they're, you can walk around trying different experiments. And it's such a great event. And it was completely the students' idea. I all I do is follow their lead.
Well, they have great ideas.
Make it happen.
So we can do that.
Yeah.
And they also were the judges for the elementary school science fair?
Yes.
That's fun.
So we have, science fair at all of these different levels. Today, the elementary school, Effie Bellows, is having their science fair. So we took our Science Honor Society and research students and sent them down to the elementary school to be judges for the elementary level. And and we did that yesterday. Yesterday we had our middle school science fair. We did the same thing, different sets of students, but these high achieving, excited students are coming full circle. They've done their own science fairs. They have extensive experience and are coming back and being mentors and judges.
And this program, is it all a volunteer? Like you get, is there electives, so you get to choose, or are they also mandated through the school?
So something like that, or these are all clubs. The Science National Honor Society, STEM Board, Science Olympiad, where we go out and compete, building things, and it's crazy. These are all after-school clubs, completely voluntary. There are, of course, pieces of the program. They're pretty much mandatory. The state tells us we have to teach biology and some earth science, some chemistry, some physics. But then after that, the electives are just chosen. And what's so interesting is that at the high school level, we have about 500 students at the high school level, but we teach about 700 students, meaning that each year about half of them decide to take not only one science, but an extra as well, whether it's for a half credit, a funner, or something more intense. So they are packing their schedule with science.
Well, it sounds like you're making it really fun and interesting, that it's becoming more desirable for the students. So that's amazing. And this is all at the Rye Neck High School.
All at Rye Neck High School.
So thank you so much for being here, Anne. I really appreciate it. And informing us a little bit more about what you have going on there.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Hi, Robert Hone.
Hi,
Thank
Olga.
you. Thank you for joining us today here at LMC Media.
My pleasure.
For the Sound Shore Family Guide. And Robert is the director of STEM for the Mamaroneck School District. So again, thank you for coming and for telling us a little bit more about how amazing we are, I guess, lucky to have you here. And tell us more, please.
Sure, my pleasure. Well, thank you again for having me. So in Mamaroneck, we have an amazing STEM program that starts from the moment students enter the district until they leave high school. And so why don't I share a little bit more about our elementary STEM program, which I think is really unique. So we have a 6-day cycle at the elementary schools, and part of that 6-day cycle, students get to experience STEM on a regular basis, in addition to the more traditional specials like library and PE. And in those STEM specials, all of our students are in new STEM labs at the elementary school, which thanks to the Mamaroneck Schools Foundation, they've been outfitted with quite a bit of new equipment and new technology like 3D printers. And students we get to see a different side of students when they're in the STEM program, because it is less academic in a sense, and they're working on their critical thinking skills and applying it in a very different way. And so all of the projects are steeped in this process called the design thinking process, or the engineering design process, where students are presented with a problem, and then they're going through the process to keep refining their solution or potential solution to the problem. And they discover that some things work well, some things need some improving, but end of the day, it's okay that things need to be improved. And so it's nice to get to see that different side of students, that they're working their brains in these creative ways.
That is amazing. A lot of this is hands-on, it's critical thinking, it's group work.
Right, exactly. So there's a lot of coding that still happens too. So even for our kindergartners, they're coding by way of taking little cars and using tiles, and the tiles are color-coded, and depending on which one they put on the ground, it will do something different. So it will go, it will stop, it will turn right, it will turn left. It's teaching them that idea of like functional thinking, so that once they get to a computer and they're actually coding, they'll have that process down pat in their brain by way of doing something with the cars. But that's just one component of the program, the computer science. We also have like a traditional science component that all of our students get exposed to. In third, fourth, and fifth grade, it's kind of helping with the state test. But in the lower grades, it's just introducing them to some pure science topics. And a lot of engineering takes place within the STEM program too, where they're just building fun things that are solving a problem, like building an elevator, for instance.
And then what happens, I guess, in middle school and then in high school?
Yeah, so in middle school, similar to the elementary school where every student is getting that experience, every student is still getting computer science or technology in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. It's typically for a quarter. And so they're doing very similar work in which they're working with the design thinking process, but to solve more complicated problems. Students walk away having built a website. They build maglev cars. They're still building contraptions to solve different societal problems.
And these are all mandatory classes?
Yeah,
Okay.
so both in the elementary school and the middle school, they're mandatory.
Okay, great.
But then once we get to the high school, after students have seen what STEM could be about and kind of destigmatizing the scaries that come with STEM sometimes, they have the ability to continue their studies at the high school in our brand new state-of-the-art co-lab space, what other schools call like a STEM lab. We took the old cafeteria and split it up into a few different spaces, including a large group instructional space, a prototyping studio, which has 3D printers, a wood shop, a metal shop. And currently we have our freshman class called STEAM Studio, in which 200 students are using that space, and they're taking like a survey course on design, engineering, computer science, and architecture, all within the span of their first year at the high school. So they're learning about all those different topics, because then when they get to sophomore, junior, and senior year, that's what they can specialize in. You know what? While I appreciated architecture, I really am a computer scientist and want to focus my time on computer science, or any other combination of courses that they can take. Why we find it so innovative that we have that survey course as a freshman is because it kind of mirrors a real world. Think about a computer programmer. They're probably going to be introduced to, or working rather, with a designer on a website, or an engineer on the capacity of the network. They have to have some basic knowledge of those other disciplines. They can't just focus in on that one thing that they're passionate about. So that's why we have this new course at the high school, because students get exposed to some basic topics on all those disciplines.
That's so true. And are these all, so again, in the high school, is it more of a...
This is an elective.
An elective.
Yep, so students opt into that course.
And do other districts have this this stuff, or is it mostly just the Mamaroneck High School and the Mamaroneck School District?
Yeah, so some schools have the traditional tech classes that they see in the middle school and the high school. They definitely do not have it at the elementary school. And what makes our high school particularly unique in this regard is our collab. It was, again, funded by the Mamaroneck Schools Foundation. We have state-of-the-art equipment in there that you would see at Ford and GM, for instance, when they're engaging in their prototyping. And you're not going to see that in any other high schools in the region.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, that's one more reason why Mamaroneck High School is so special.
Yeah.
Robert, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
If you want to know more information, is there more to know? Is there like a website that they can tap into?
So you can find out more about all of our programs on our district's website, MamKSchools, mamkschools.org.
Okay. Thank you so much, Robert.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning, Kevin and Nicole. Thank you so much for being here at LMC Media for the Sound Shore Family Guide.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. Thank you. And the two of you are here representing the STEAM Collective. I do want to tap in a little bit about your history and who you are. And I know that you both are, you live in the community, you live in Larchmont. And so tell us how, because you're not married and you're just, you're friends and you met this way. So tell us a little bit about how that happened.
Well, I moved here in 2019 from Brooklyn.
And I moved 2012, maybe, around then, from Chicago.
But we were looking for something that was very walkable and a wonderful community here. And so I do a lot of drop-off, pick-up, everything. I'm a stay-at-home dad. And I met Nicole at karate 2-3 years ago. We taught at Badger Day Camp together. I was doing STEM. You were doing
arts and crafts.
And crafts.
We were in a similar section, so we got to see each other work, and we really liked both of our approach to education just by being next to each other. And I'd always be like, what are you doing over there, Kevin? And he'd come over and, what did you do today? That's fascinating.
Yeah, so I think we have a shared approach for how we educate kids and make it interdisciplinary and very much like hands-off and minimal materials. But in November, we started our LLC for the STEAM Collective. And then we moved on with teaching about 14 classes over the winter. We were in St. John's Nursery School. We pushed into Creative Corner. We are still at Badger, and right now we're exclusively at Locals on their second floor.
Amazing. What is STEAM? What is the STEAM Collective, and what kind of activities do you do?
Do you want to do what the acronym stands for? Or
Go for it.
All right. Science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. So I always joke and say, like, I'm mostly the A. So I do a lot of language arts and also creative arts.
I'm the STEM.
And
you're the science guy.
Right.
Yes.
But we also have, we have a chess teacher that we bring in who's wonderful because, and we worked a lot with the chess teacher at Chatsworth about how do we find, because we love him, but he wasn't able, he was just too busy to move in and work with us. So we asked, what should we be looking for? We love the way you teach chess. It's a very interactive, doing a lot of improv in chess. And so he sort of gave us some guidelines to how to find a great chess teacher and looking at how they should be ranked and all that, and also just their approach.
Yeah. So what I normally do is I do a lot of the science, technology, mainly engineering. So you can see over here we have a little bridge that goes up and down with a little thing that this is like a 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade level. For the littler kids, we can do little caterpillars that they can make on their own.
So cute.
We have a very, very active car building series where we build cars out of all kinds of different materials. But we do
everything's so tactile, right?
Yes, everything is touch and feel, but it's also minimal materials. You can do this at home. I want parents to not be overwhelmed by science and technology. This is literally Q-tips. This is food dye and just some circles. And the kids had so much fun just poking the holes, putting the colors in, and they could take this home. This is from our Take Home Toys series. So we do a lot of that. But like Nicole said, it's very interdisciplinary. So, there is some art component to what I do, but I am mostly STEM and engineering.
When we do our younger classes together, that we definitely do. There's more art and engineering together. I would say it's build a bridge, but talk about the aesthetics of the bridge. Then I teach a poetry and art class under the banner of Taylor Swift because that's how we got kids to join.
I'm sure you put that name on front of anything.
Sing, Swift, and create. Yeah. It was our first sellout class. So, but it's really a lot about art. in poetry, and we do, I'll start with a Taylor Swift song, and then we talk about, like, how does she use metaphor in this song? What's the difference between a metaphor and an extended metaphor? And then we'll make a craft related to the themes that come up in the song.
Is that more for older children?
That one, I have two sections. One's 2nd to 4th grade, and one's K to 3, because they can do different things. And we're also currently, each class is writing their own songs. So that's kind of fun. We do that as a group activity.
That is so neat. And
yes.
this is always done at locals then?
Right now, we're running all of our classes at locals. We're looking to launch another like 13 to 15 classes in the spring, which starts next week. And we think that, we're just trying to expand to where the kids are really leading us. So Nicole's stuff might turn into a theater class. So we're trying to like book a theater class and see how we can bring that, design your own story. And do you want to be in front of the camera or behind the camera? Let's bring all these kids together to do that.
Is that mostly adult, like parents based, like they're kind of pitching ideas to you and you're like, yeah, that's a great idea, let's run with it? Or more like children's ideas?
I think it's
both?
a mixture of both. So
Wow.
the fashion class definitely started from my assistant in my Taylor class looking for a fashion class for her age group. There was nothing for older students and we approached Andrea Moore, who's fantastic, has a storefront in Larchmont, and she used to teach fashion classes in Portland. And she's like, oh, I could definitely tailor this down to a younger group, to a middle-aged group of students. The playwriting class, playwriting/improv/acting. I had a grant when I was younger to write plays. I did a lot of playwriting when I was younger, and we had a parent approach us and say, I'd like something that isn't so much theater, musical theater. There's a lot of musical opportunities to do musical theater in town, but there's nothing that's more acting and writing your own scenes. And so we created that class.
And like, how do you get from an idea to fruition? And then how do you promote that where other people can join your class? I mean, that's like one idea coming into filling up the class. So how do you?
Yeah. So I would say we went from 0 to 100 pretty quickly. So again,
Wow.
like we started in November. That's when our LLC hit. And we immediately went to running, 15 classes.
Amazing.
And a lot of it we found is just through the community, word of mouth. And, we try to keep everything kid focused and walkable. Like we want kids to walk to our class. We want the parents to be able to do the drop off, from ages 2, 3, 4 and up. Like
Wow.
our sweet spot is really that group to like 4th and 5th grade. And right now we're just trying to
running
focus on
the
like
older
expanding.
robotics class too. So
Yeah.
we heard from some parents like they wanted their kids to do some robotics stuff, but a lot of the robotics clubs are very intense. And you have to go 2 to 3 times a week, and it's really about competing. But we found someone who is willing to come in. It's just more informal. It's only an hour. Let's build some stuff like microcontrollers, and it's not as intense, but it's a way for kids to try something like that out and see if maybe they do want to join when they get older the robotics team at Homics or at the high school. But it's a way to introduce it, just a soft introduction, a little bit easier. It's a taste of it, like a taste. Yeah, it's good.
But
Good
we
way to
love
describe
bringing
it.
in other parents who want to dabble in teaching or other small businesses that we can help promote in our community.
Well, hence
Yes.
your brand is collective.
We are collective.
You really are supporting other small businesses with other interests and growing together.
Yeah, and we all
Amazing.
can't do everything alone, and that's the whole beauty of our community is that we are a community that comes together, for a lot of different things, and this is hopefully an extension of that.
That
So
is
I think
amazing.
Homework Club is something like that's a unique thing that
is
we
a
have,
a
a new thing
that we just added for spring. So we'll be doing a homework club at local. So if you want to,
if you're taking a class, so it came from a lot of parents were sitting outside of our door with their children waiting for classes to start because they were walking from Chatsworth or wherever. And then I was saying, just come in. You can sit down and do homework together. So now we're formalizing it where the parents can actually drop their children off if they're taking a class with us 15 minutes, up to 15 minutes early, or stay a little later if they have maybe they need to drop a kid off with us and they need to go pick another one up or drop someone else off. And we have staff that we're hiring to just supervise so the students can be in a safe place when they're waiting for the class to start and they don't have to stand outside in the rain or in our lobby waiting for things to start. And that was really...
And two things on that just real quick. Number one, we want it to be tech-free, right? We really want the kids to be able to talk to each other and be creative without having devices and do their homework and do, calm games with adult supervision. But number two, like I have 3 children in Windward, Chatsworth, and Larchmont Temple. Nicole has 3 children of her own. We get the struggle. Like you're 15 minutes late for gymnastics pickup, or you're early because you got to go somewhere else. We want to facilitate the children getting the activities that they need without the parents speeding down Boston Post or trying to find a parking spot and being stressed. Like things that we needed to solve for ourselves also, we're trying to solve through our programming.
Amazing. So how do people get in touch with you for all of this goodness that you are providing to this community?
Yeah.
Probably the website.
Our website's probably the best thing. So you have contact us on our website. Our website is steam-collective.com. So you can find us on there, or you can just pop into Locals, and they have business cards and handouts, and we love being there and working with them.
Now, we know where Locals is because it's a fabulous place, but where is Locals if you have the address?
It's on Boston Post, right near Larchmont Avenue.
Well, it's near Sherwood's restaurant and
1583, I think. Is that the actual address?
Okay, yeah.
I have to look that one up.
Right, Locals 10538.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having us.
And thank you for
having
doing
us.
all that you're doing. It sounds absolutely amazing for the kids' experience, as well as even for small independent owners who want to grow their businesses. So let's keep on growing this collective idea. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for sticking around and for, hope you enjoyed all the information that you've received about STEM and about MakeInspires and other businesses in the community. We're back here with Alex. And Alex, we would love to hear from you. If you have like a little tip that you can share with us that only if you live around town would you really know. And what's it like? What do you have to tell us?
So I would say that my biggest thing that I love about our community is that there's a lot of walkability to it, or you'll see kids, we joke, we live kind of close to the middle school in town, and kids are riding their bikes to school every single day. It's a huge part of it. And you see these kids like going, and we call it the biker gang of Larchmont. Like it's like literally packs of middle schoolers going to school on their bikes. And for me, especially when I had like really little kids, coming out of the city, I was really intimidated by the concept of putting my kids in the car, like multiple kids in multiple car seats. And so I would like throw them in the stroller, and, that would calm them down if we were in the middle of a fit of some sort and we would walk to a park or we would walk to get ice cream or whatever it is. And I really think that that's a great thing for parents to be able to do with their kids, either to bike or walk, or it gets you out of the house, especially when you have super little kids and you're just like, I can't be in this house any longer. And on top of that, the parking in Larchmont and Mamaroneck can be challenging at some times. So it kind of takes that element out of things too, where I don't have to I joke, I don't park in town for the most part because I just can't deal with the parking situation. I've become a very good parallel parker. So when I have to, I can do it. But I hate parking in town usually. So I'll walk pretty much no matter the weather. And also it's a great way to get out. You see a lot of people. My husband jokes when we walk to school, he's always like, everyone in town. I'm like, because we're all walking.
Exactly.
We all see each other. We all say hi. It's a great way to really feel like you're part of a community and come across people that might not be in the same, have kids in the same grade as you or whatever, and kind of meet new people and get out and meet your neighbors.
Well, I love that, especially coming from Manhattan.
Right.
I mean, where you don't really know who your neighbors are.
Yes.
Here, it's like it becomes your community and you get to know everybody.
Exactly. And it's so nice to be able to walk down the street and think like, oh, hi, I know you and whatnot. And it also, as my kids have gotten older, they now walk everywhere or bike everywhere. And there's also a little bit of a sense of community that I like with that, because I know that, if my kids aren't doing the right thing maybe, or if maybe they're hurt or whatever, that there's so many people that know them in the community that would, help them if there was an issue. Yes.
Definitely.
And I do think that we have a special community that kind of is that village. So
I happen to agree with you.
There you go.
Well, thanks for being here, Alex. I so much appreciate it. And thank you all.
Thank you.
Visit lmcmedia.org/family guide to get more information and find other episodes. LMC Media is a nonprofit media center. Follow us on socials at LMC Media Center and subscribe to our YouTube channel at LMC Media Productions to see more content.